Welcome again to yet another session in basic science rather. Today, on the topic today, we're going to be talking about the solar system. The solar system. In today's lesson, your take home should be you're going to know everything about the solar system, how many bodies make up the planets, how many planets make up the solar system rather, and how many particles are there in our atmosphere, celestial bodies are there in our solar system that are impacting our Milky Way galaxy. Now, what is solar system? The solar system includes or is a combination of all the celestial bodies, which includes the sun, the 8 planets, which includes our Earth, where we are right now, the asteroids, the comets, and also the dwarf planets, alongside the moon, the moons of all the planets that go around the sun. Everything we've mentioned right here, weave or orbit around the sun. Now, before I get started with some basic facts, first of all, let me touch a bit on the dwarf planets. Now, initially you heard me say 8 planets, and not the supposedly or the thought we've come to believe that the solar system is made of 9 planets. That indeed has been, that ideology has been scrapped in some 18 years ago, roughly 2004, 2005. Scientists came to the knowledge that the planet Pluto is indeed not just a planet or not a planet. It is a dwarf planet, and by the name dwarf planet, it means the planet Pluto is a smaller planet in size, and due to the sheer size of planet Pluto, it has been removed as one of the actual main planets that make up our solar system. Therefore, we're having 8 planets. Coming back to our knowledge now. Now, talking about actual or main planets, you might even think that the planet Earth is a big place or a big planet. But in actuality, it's even one of the smallest planets. How sad is that? This big planet we are in, that we can travel distances to one location. For example, even in a country right here in this world, in this planet, there are some countries that you take that goes for miles, and thousands of miles, and you take hours to reach. For example, moving from the state of Florida to the state of California can take you hours. And coming here in Nigeria, moving from Nigeria to Ethiopia takes you hours, 6 hours or more. And you cover some 3,000 to 6,000 miles, 6,000 miles, which is roughly about 4,000 to 8,000 kilometers. Imagine that kind of a distance, very far distance. I mean, you and I to just walk from here for the next 1 hour, we'll be sweating, we'll be gasping for air. But here is the distance that separates us in Earth. And Earth is not even the biggest. In fact, the biggest planet in our solar system is Jupiter. And hear this is a fact for you. You could fit in 1,321 Earths inside of Jupiter. That's how big Jupiter is. Comparing Jupiter to the sun, how about you compare Jupiter to the sun? Let me tell you, you fit in almost 1,000 Jupiter, if not 1,000 Jupiters in the sun. That makes it that you fit, if you calculate your 1,300 and your 1,000 for the Jupiter, put it together, it will take you 1.3 million planet Earth size or Earth-sized planets to fit into the sun. That's the volume of the sun. 1.3. Our Earth is already big enough. But compared to the Jupiter, it's a baby. And compared to the sun, it's a tiny speck that can hardly displace any particle in the sun. That's how small we are. That's our solar system. So that's a fact for you to think about. Now, some important facts, other facts about the Earth. It takes just about 365 days, this we know very well, for the Earth to travel around the sun, hence making it 1 year. But to make life easier, most years have 365 days, and every fourth year has 366 days. We call a year with 366 days a leap year. The extra day is February 29th. Now, 2012 was a leap year, and 2016 a leap year, 2020 also a leap year. It then means by next year, we'll be celebrating another leap year, 366 days. Now, what is another fact there? The same force that holds you on the earth, which is the force of gravity, on the surface of the earth, so that you don't float away when you jump, is what keeps the moon revolving around the earth and the earth revolving around the sun. This force is called gravity. And the first man to discover that it existed was Sir Isaac Newton in the 17th century. Until 2006, okay, we've explained this already. Okay, let me just read it anyway. Until 2006, people thought that there were 9 planets in the solar system. The 9th planet was Pluto, and it is even further away from the sun than Neptune. Until 2006, between 2004, 2005, astronomers decided that Pluto was too small to be called a planet. So now there are only 8 planets in our solar system. Pluto is now a dwarf planet. Earth is the only planet on which we know that there have been planets and animals living. It's the only planet that supports life. The next to it is the Mars, but Mars have not yet been located to be having a lot of provision for life to succeed or exist in Mars. Some scientists think that creatures may live on Mars millions of years ago, when Mars was warmer and had more air, which means oxygen. They try to find evidence to show this is true. Now, the sun is a huge ball of very hot gas. The temperature of the sun in its surface area is around 5,500 degrees Celsius, and down to its core, the core of the sun can go upwards of 1.1 million degrees Fahrenheit. It's so hot that you can feel the heat from it on Earth millions of miles away. We are millions of miles and millions of kilometers away, and yet you can feel the heat from the sun. We are only helped by our ozone layer, which is protecting us from the radiation from the sun's rays or the sun beams. The sun is about 4.5 billion years old and will last until it is about 10 billion years old before it implodes or goes supernova. This is what scientists have characterized for the sun. Howbeit, they are not God. We don't really know. Now, there are more than 100 billion stars. I should even say, if I increase to, this is our Milky Way, but if I increase to our universe, there are 1 billion trillion stars in our universe. But for our Milky Way, there are more than 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, and there are many types of stars. Now, this means the stars in our Milky Way, the stars we see in the night skies that we cannot count, are more than the human beings on planet Earth. How unthinkable, how unfathomable is that? The people of the Earth is not up to the stars in the night skies. And we have roughly 8 billion people in our population, in the population of the Earth. And there are 100 billion stars, more than 100 billion stars even, in our Milky Way alone, not even our universe. Scary. Our sun is one of the type of a star that is known as a yellow dwarf. Yes, our sun is a dwarf. That same sun that is about 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth is even a dwarf compared to some giants, some super giant stars and the rest. Wow. Scientists group stars together by how big they are and how bright they are. Some examples are the red dwarfs and supergiants. A red dwarf star is about half the size of the sun, of our sun. Very small guy. And a lot less brighter than our sun. But a supergiant star is about 7 times as big as the sun and can be 100,000 times brighter than our sun. Wow. Put that into context, or put that into some mathematical equation, and you find out that that star will be over 70 billion or 70 million times bigger than the Earth. Wow. The nearest star to the Earth, apart from the sun, the nearest star to our Earth is the Proxima Centauri. The Proxima Centauri is the nearest star to our Earth. It is a red dwarf that is smaller and colder than the sun and gives off a lot less light. Even though it is the closest star outside the solar system, the light from it is too faint to see except with a telescope or a powerful electron telescope, some of which you can see at the Universal Observatory in Ohio in United States of America. Now, Proxima Centauri is 24 trillion miles, 24 trillion miles from Earth, and light from it takes 4 years and 3 months to reach the Earth. So it displaces light. It will take you some probably 4 to 20 light years. It's 4 to 20 light years away from us. Wow. Now, these are some basic facts about our solar system. Now, these are the 8 planets in our solar system, apart from the sun, which is a star, our star in this spiral of our Milky Way. Now, we have the sun, we have the Mercury, the closest. Mercury, also the smallest of all the planets. We have the Venus, we have Earth, we have Mars, which is the 4th, and the next best thing to Earth. That means the next planet that can help life. At least have been discovered that 3% of life is existing on Mars, which is why there is a rumor around that there are some of our richest men that have gone there to build their hotels and wonderful resorts. But how cool would that be to have another planet that can support life? So we can take, instead of to do some voyage from Nigeria to United States, now we can be taking an interstellar voyage from the Earth to another planet just for holidays. Wonderful, right? Then we have the biggest of the lot, the biggest planet, which is Jupiter. So we have Saturn, also known as the gas giant, or the debris, is known by the rings of Saturn that goes around it. We have Uranus, we have Neptune. Now we'll see some important facts. Okay, now if you are doubting about the size that we earlier on stated, look at this. This is the proper imagery gotten by NASA from the observatory and the ISS space station, the International Space Station. It was observed that this is the structure of the solar system. So you can see Earth right there, the 3rd planet there, how small it is compared to Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And how even smaller it is compared to how much smaller it is compared to the sun. Can you see how big the sun is, the ball of the sun? Yes, we are that small. Now look closely downward, you will see Ceres. Ceres is one of the stars, is one of the moon of Jupiter, and one of the biggest moon in our solar system. Now we have Pluto, and in 2003 they discovered another dwarf planet known as UB313. Now these are the dwarf planets, Pluto and the UB313. Very tiny. If you go close, you will need microscope to even see them. They are quite small, smaller than Mercury. Probably Mercury will soon join them because Mercury is just too small. Now let's see some facts about our planets. Mercury. The one there is Mercury. This is the closest planet to the sun. It is the smallest planet and is made of rock. It is so close to the sun that it only takes 88 days to complete an orbit. The word orbit means a go around. If I orbit, I means I have something, I'm going around that thing. A complete circle is one orbit. So it takes 88 days for him to complete its orbit. And it's very much hotter than the sun. Why? Of course, obviously, it's closest to the sun. Venus is the next planet from the sun after Mercury. It is also made of rock like Earth. Venus has an atmosphere air around it, but it is a whole lot thicker than the Earth's, and Venus is permanently covered in clouds. Venus is the hottest planet and has an average temperature of 460 degrees Celsius. Now you may think, how can that be possible? How can Venus be the hottest planet? Now, why Mercury is the closest to the sun? Now, it is because of this sheer small size, it doesn't absorb a lot of radiation as Mercury does from the sun. Remember, Mercury is only taking 225 days to travel around the sun. So it's a lot closer, and because of its sheer size, it tends to attract more heat from the sun. We have the Earth. This is where we live. It is made of rock and also made of water as our liquid. The other planets are either hot or too cold. Earth takes 365 days to travel around the sun. Earth is a balance of both hot and cold. That's why the planet is well equipped to handle life on the molecular level. Mars is a little smaller than Earth, but a lot further out. It used to have an atmosphere like Earth and Venus, but it doesn't have very much anymore. Mars is reddish in color and is sometimes known as the red planet, or some people call it the red waste, because of the series of catastrophic planetary problems or accidents that have happened in Mars. So it looks like a wasteland, a barren wasteland. Mars takes 687 days to complete an orbit around the sun and average a temperature of minus 63 degrees Celsius. So it's a lot colder there. Now we have the Jupiter. It is the largest planet in our solar system. You could fit in, as we said, 1,321 Earths in Jupiter. It is made of gas. It is one of the four gas giants. Now, we call them the gas giants. The remaining planets that will be mentioned here are the gas giants. It is one of the four gas giants. Jupiter has 66 moons. One of them, Ganymede, is named after the scientists who discovered the planet. It is bigger than Mercury. One of the planets, the moons in Jupiter are quite enormous because of its sheer size. It tends to carry planet-sized moons. Planet-sized moons. I mean, compared to our moon, these guys are giants. Jupiter is 5 times as far from the sun as the Earth is, and takes almost 12 years to travel around the sun. So while we take 365 days, which is 1 year to travel around the sun, Jupiter takes 12 years. We have the next one, Saturn. Saturn is famous for its ring, the rings of Saturn. The rings we are first observed with a telescope in 1610 by the great scientist himself, Galileo. Galileo found it. In fact, some of the rocks in Saturn, fun facts, are named after Galileo. He has about 300, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 325 rocks named after him in around the solar system, and are made up of huge numbers of small lumps of ice and dust. So it's kind of an icy place, cold, and a bit unfavorable for humans. The pieces in the rocks may be as small as a millimeter and as large as a few meters across. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system and is another one of the gas giants like Jupiter. It takes about 29.5 years to travel around the sun from Saturn, which means it takes about two and a half times that of Jupiter to travel around the sun. Uranus is another gas giant, the third one. You can fit in 63 planet size Earth in Uranus. Now it's smaller than Jupiter, where you can fit almost 1,000. Uranus takes about 84 years to orbit around the sun, which is close to 3 times or 2 times, close to 3 times that of Saturn. To travel around the sun is the coldest planet with an average temperature of minus or negative 220 degrees Celsius. Yes, it's colder than the last person there. Neptune. Neptune is the furthest planet from the sun. It is 30 times as far from the sun as the Earth, and it takes about 165 years to travel around the Earth. Neptune is the last of the 4 gas giants. So you know, if I ask the 4 gas giants, you know them: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Neptune is 58 times the volume of Earth. Is 58 times the volume of Earth. So these are the fun facts about all the planets that makes up our solar system. Now, just out there, some out there stuff for us to know, keywords for us to know, keywords. I told you earlier on that our solar system is made of celestial bodies of different kinds. Now, one of such celestial bodies is the asteroid. The asteroids are bodies of rock and ice in space. Millions of asteroids orbit around the sun, most between Mars and Jupiter. They vary in size between 1 meter across, 1 meter diameter across, or 600 miles across. So they are quite big. Like, for example, the asteroid that made an impact years ago, from scientific angle, that made an impact to wipe out the dinosaurs. They said it's about 3 miles long, this wide. So it's quite a it even created a crater. It became a mountain on the Earth. Asteroids are quite enormous. To make you understand just how big or how enormous asteroids are, or 600 miles diameter asteroid is, imagine a mountain like Mount Everest. It takes, the height of Mount Everest will take you about 8 kilometers, rather. It's 8 kilometers high and about roughly 3 kilometers wide. Sorry, 5 kilometers high and about 8 kilometers wide. Then you put that into context with 600 miles, not kilometers, because this in kilometer will be roughly about 825 kilometers across in diameter. 825 kilometers. That's a country size to even some, I mean, imagine even some multi-country size, almost a continent size asteroid hitting your country, hitting your Earth, your planet with such a fast pace. It could shatter our world in pieces. We also have atmosphere, the layer of gas around a planet. We have the gas are held together. We have the comet. A comet is a body of ice that has a tail. One of the things you know about comet is that it has a tail and it has parts. Some of the parts are ice, dust, bits of rock that passes through space, leaving a tail of ice. It leaves a tail of ice. As it's going, it goes very fast. And dust behind it. A comet may be up to 25 miles across, so it's quite big too, but not as big as the asteroid. We also have the day, the length of time it takes for the Earth to spin around the sun, so that you don't get before you get to the night, which is the shadow side of the Earth. 24 hours, that's when it takes for a complete revolution to make a day. 24 hours, a day and a night makes 24 hours. We have the galaxy, a large group of stars, all orbiting central points. Now we also have the gravity, the force that attracts a moon to a planet and a planet to a star, and humans to the Earth, or substances, or every matter to the Earth. Light year, the distance that light travels in 1 year, 5.9 trillion miles. We told you already. Then we have the meteor. The meteor are small. Now, they're like the asteroid, but smaller. Now, the meteorites are small bits of debris in the space, up to the size of a boulder, a very large rock. a big rock. So not as big as a mountainous-sized asteroid, but big enough to cause harm. We usually have meteor showers in some parts of our world or our planet. We have meteor showers where some smaller debris pieces falls on our surrounding. This has led to some catastrophic accidents in the past. We have our Milky Way. The galaxy that we live in is known as the Milky Way galaxy. Now you have the moon. A moon is a smaller object orbiting around a planet. Some planets have many moons, but Earth has just one, called the moon, hence the word the moon. Now we have the orbit. The word orbit means the path. Take note of this word very well. The path that a planet takes around the moon, around the sun rather, or that a moon takes around a planet, or that any foreign body, for example, when we were going to be treating artificial bodies or artificial satellites, we'll be talking about satellites that man-made satellites are also orbit around a planet. So anybody that is orbiting around a larger body, or is moving around a larger body, or revolving around a larger body, is said to be orbiting that body. We have planets, a large body of either rock or gas that follows a consistent orbit around the sun. So it moves in a particular circular move or rotational path. We have the shooting star. Now, this isn't really a star. A shooting star is a meteor that is passing through the Earth's atmosphere and has got so hot that it glows in the sky. So it has gained momentum, and the force of the sun's ray has hit it so much that while it's moving across the surface of our planet, it moves at very high speed. Thus, we call it a shooting star. Not necessarily that is a star, but it's being powered by the heat wave of a star. Then we have the solar system, the sun and the collection of stars and planets found in our world. Then we also have the star. A star is a huge ball of very hot gases that gives off lots of light and heat. Some stars have planets orbiting around them, but not all do. The sun. The star in our solar system is known as the sun. Why the universe? Now, we have moved. I will give you the step by which we have moved. The universe is everything that exists, all the galaxies, all the stars, and all the planets, and everything in between found inside the universe. Are found inside the universe. Now you have the year. The length of time it takes the Earth to travel around the sun is 365 days. All right, before I end, let me just move a step for you. Now I'll start with you as a minute figure, you, then goes to your home, it goes over to your community, down to your local government, down to your state, down to your country, down to your continent, and down to your world, your planet. From your planet, it moves to your solar system, the alignment of all the planets and the sun. From your solar system, it moves to the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, the spiral by which the spiral-shaped or the milky-shaped cluster of different celestial bodies, including suns and moons and planets, the Milky Way. We have other galaxies, remember. One of such galaxies is known as Andromeda Galaxy. If you research about it, you'll find it. So many other galaxies out there. Now, the combination of all the galaxies, some of them are small, some of them are huge. Our Milky Way galaxy is one of the biggest in the solar system. It moves in a spiral way, and it has a milky form. But the Andromeda Galaxy, while our own is horizontal in its movement, the Andromeda Galaxy is vertical in its movement. And scientists have recorded that we are on our path to having a collision, an intergalactic size or universal size collision between the two biggest rather galaxies in our universe. Now, many galaxies coming together makes up our universe. Are there other universes out there? I leave you to ponder on it. Your assignment to take home: what is the solar system? Mention any 4 planets in our solar system. State 2 facts about Mars. 2 facts about Mars. We listed a lot of facts about Mars. State 2 facts about Mars. And this last question is a bit straightforward. Just choose. Pluto is a dwarf planet. True or false? Now, before we end completely, can we just see some questions from years past? There was a question that was given to us, and number 48, the question says, the path which each planet moves around the sun is called its dash. Now they gave option A to be axis, B, distance, C, line, D, orbit, E, rotation. And from our description and all we have learned today, you know the answer will be D, which is orbit. We say the number of days it takes for a planet or a body to go or revolve around a particular or a larger body is known as orbit. For our Earth, it takes 365 days for our planets to revolve or orbit around the sun to make 1 year. So please, your answer there is D. And with that, we have come to the end of today's lesson. Make sure you ensure you do your homework and your assignments and keep studying to self-improve in all dimensions. God bless you. See you next time.